Hello, thank you for joining us. Have you ever wondered why some students totally understand counting, why some students don't, and how to best support them in both scenarios? Well then, you have tuned into the perfect first grade episode to discover the intentions of the standards and highlight key resources provided by the Georgia Department of Education Mathematics Department for Standard 1. Understanding both will support you with your instructional practice and foster continued student success. Come on, let's get into it. There are 6 content standards in first grade. Standard 1 is named 1NR1 because it is part of the big idea of numerical reasoning. This big idea includes essential learning such as counting, money, place value, numbers to 20, addition, subtraction, and fluency. The Math Practices Standard, which is abbreviated as MP, is an overarching standard and is under the Mathematical Practices and Modeling Big Idea. Under the overarching umbrella of the big idea is the standard. Embedded within the standard are the objectives, which further identify the expectations of the standard. Standard 1 has 3 expectations or objectives for student learning and mastery. The number sense trajectory is the order students follow to develop number sense. Each concept builds upon the previous concept. Students will develop number relationships as they move through the trajectory. As teachers, we must give students opportunities to explore and engage with numbers to help develop and strengthen number sense. First grade Standard 1, Objective 1, has the expectation that students will count within 120, forward and backward, starting at any number. Students are also expected to read and write numerals and represent a number of objects within a written numeral. Objective 1 NR 1.2 has the expectation that students will explain that the 2 digits of a 2-digit number represent the amounts of tens and ones. How you support students with these on-grade level expectations, inclusive of acceleration and progress towards mastery, is in part dependent upon their number sense stage of development. In order to demonstrate mastery with objectives and expectations of NR 1.1 and 2, students must rely on their pre-K and kindergarten practice within the stages of counting, one-to-one correspondence, cardinality, and spatial relationships, pattern set recognition. Understanding the number sense trajectory for which a student demonstrates complete success will guide you on what targeted numerical reasoning practice they might need. You might be wondering what a connection between the number sense trajectory and Standard 1 looks like. Here are some visual correlations between first grade Standard 1 and the number sense trajectory. Students should have demonstrated success with subitizing and comparisons in kindergarten. This understanding prepares students for the expectations of Objective 1 NR 1.2, which requires students to explain that the 2 digits in a number represent the amounts of tens and ones, as well as 1 NR 1.3, for which they will compare and order whole numbers up to 100 using concrete models. The examples with the die and double 10 frames represent these objectives, respectively. A student who understands cardinality understands that the last count in a set represents how many objects are in a group. This is illustrated with the image of the oranges. If a student counts the oranges, he or she should count 15 total oranges. With an understanding of the idea and quantity of 15 oranges, a student should be able to write a corresponding numeral to represent 15 as required by Objective 1 NR 1.1. Concrete models do follow progression. Students should have ample practice with subitizing, then 2-color counters on tools such as 5 frames, number bonds, and 10 frames, as well as rec and recs in kindergarten, so that they can utilize symbols such as greater than, equal, and less than to compare and order whole numbers with concrete models, drawings, and representations of numerical values. In this task from the Georgia Department of Education Mathematics, Unit 1, students are expected to make 10 in multiple ways utilizing the 10 frame. This engagement not only builds students' fluency with number, but partners with the math practices to elicit students' reasoning. By engaging in this task, students are demonstrating the behaviors of Math Practice 7, look for and make use of structure, in which first graders will use the structure of numbers to build 10. They compose and decompose all numbers within 10. This understanding will lay the foundation for building teen numbers and greater numbers as they move through the standards. Students will also be engaged in Math Practice 8. Look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. Students will use reasoning to find the partners to 10. They will explore the part-whole relationship in building these partners. This reasoning can be used in composing or decomposing all numbers. As students become more fluent with strategies to make 10, they will be able to transfer and apply that same understanding to double 10 frames when composing and decomposing two-digit numbers. Let's take a look at how students engaged these math practices to share sense-making strategies to the double 10 frame structure.
16.
All right, let's look now at how you may have solved this. Can you come up for us and tell us how you got 17, please?
So, in my mind, I took this up here, and I saw there was 7 more.
So you made a 10. So 10 plus 7 gave you 17. I love your thinking. Go clip up.
As you can see from the video clip, Number Talks allow students to engage with numerical reasoning through the math practices. This Number Talks shows students explaining their understanding of how two-digit numbers represent amounts of tens and ones on a double 10 frame in alignment with 1NR 1.2. This builds upon students' reasoning with 1NR 1.1 and the 10 frame practice we just reviewed in the 10 flash dash. We have seen how students can activate their learning via the math practices through task and Number Talks. Books can also provide wonderful avenues to elicit students' reasoning with engaging with the math practices. In order for this to happen, teachers must intentionally choose topic and skill-related books, as well as plan rigorous and relevant questioning. This is a sample of books that can be used to reinforce counting and support numerical reasoning. It is important for teachers to incorporate literature in the math setting. Literature can help students with understanding mathematical concepts. As with literary texts, teachers can engage with each text multiple times by conducting a series of very close reads with students and posing text-dependent questions to students. Teachers should also craft meaningful opportunities for students to generate and pose questions of themselves and their peers. Think Alouds to model this practice will be necessary so that students become confident in their ability to pose relevant questions that can be answered based on the text. In this video, we explored First Grade Standard 1, student expectations, and some learning experiences to help students demonstrate mastery of the standard. We also highlighted key resources provided by the Georgia Department of Education's Mathematics Department to support you with your instructional practice and foster continued student success. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
The Georgia Department of Education provides several resources to support teachers with the implementation of Georgia's K-12 mathematics standards. Curriculum maps and interactive instructional units are available to support teaching and learning of the standards. The GADLE Community Platform facilitates professional learning communities for each grade level and high school course to foster collaboration and support across Georgia. All teachers and teacher leaders are encouraged to join the community specific to their grade level or course. Ongoing professional learning is also available and can be found on the GADLE Mathematics webpage. The Mathematics Virtual Specialists provide monthly professional learning opportunities offered by the Georgia Department of Education, and the annual MathCon conference sessions are also available to provide information related to the new standards. All of these sessions are recorded and posted online for teachers to reference on demand. Regional support is also available through the local regional educational service agencies. The Math Mentors at each RESA provide professional learning opportunities and work with schools and districts to support teaching and learning of mathematics. For the most up-to-date information on Georgia's K-12 mathematics standards, please visit www.gadle.org/mathematics.